we're going to explain the NameError name display is not defined error in Python. This common error pops up when you try to use a variable, function, or module that Python doesn't know about yet. Think of it like trying to use a tool that's not in your toolbox. Python needs you to properly introduce those things before you can use them. Let's look at how this happens and how to fix it. 1. The root cause, uninitialized variables. The most frequent reason for this error is using a variable before assigning it a value. Imagine you have a recipe that calls for sugar, but you haven't even opened the sugar bag yet. Python doesn't know what display is because you haven't told it what it represents. For example, if you write print, display, and you haven't done something like display =, hello world. Earlier in your code, you'll get the name error. 2. Case sensitivity. Python is picky about capitalization. If you define a variable as display, with a capital D, and later try to use display, lowercase d, Python will consider them completely different and throw a name error. Remember, display and display are distinct to Python. 3. Typographical errors. A simple typo can lead to this error. If you intended to use display_results but accidentally wrote display_results, Python won't recognize it. Carefully double-check your spelling. 4. Scope issues. Variables are only accessible within the part of the code where they're defined. This is called scope. If you define display inside a function, you can't directly use it outside that function without returning it from the function or employing other techniques like global variables, which are generally discouraged for larger projects due to potential complexities. 5. Missing imports. If display refers to a function or class from a library, like a GUI library, you need to import that library first. For instance, if you're using a function from the tkinter library, common for creating graphical user interfaces, you need to include import tkinter at the beginning of your script. Failure to do this will result in a name error. 6. Fixing the error. The solution depends on the cause. If it's an uninitialized variable, assign a value to it before using it. If it's a typo, correct the spelling. If it's a scope issue, either move the code to be within the correct scope or use techniques for accessing it from outside its scope. Consider functions return values. If it's a missing import, add the necessary import statement. By understanding these common reasons for the name error name display is not defined and using the troubleshooting steps provided, you can effectively debug this type of error and create cleaner, more functional Python code. Always check your variable names, spellings, and import statements to prevent these problems. Remember the importance of careful coding practices to avoid this frequent error.